ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no way, with a heavy metal. No time, no fail, won't stop here. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop. Come on, baby, higher. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop.
There we go there. Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it is that time of the week. Cornflakes and crack with the one, the only Mr. Bill Krackomberger, live from Las Vegas. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Survive and advance, as we like to say in our lanes, and that's what we do here. Crazy weekend. We got the final 12 in college football. Survive and advance in the CIRCA Survivor, and our good friend, Mr. Jeffrey Benson at the CIRCA did something crazy, which I want to talk to Bill with as we get live here on the show. First and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play, download that app. It is free. Viva Tequila Seltzer. The East Coast is cuckoo for coconut, but now they have a new flavor, lemon. Go try one where you purchase and drink your adult beverages. And of course, Atlanta Steaks and Seafood. Head on over to Facebook. Introduce yourself to Terry Smith. While you're there, head on over to atlantasteaksandseafood.com. Place an order today. Use the promo code STEAKS10. Get 10% off your full order. Place an order right now. Right now. And you'd probably be grilling by Thursday kickoff. So without further ado, the star of this show, Mr. Bill Krackomberger. Morning, Billy.
Morning. How we doing? How you doing, Jeff?
We're doing well. How about yourself?
Good. Everything's cool out here in Vegas. I got by, survived another week with the Pittsburgh Steelers in my piece of the Survivor pool. Unfortunately, I had a nice lead there in the game, and I just felt that I was going to win that game, which I did. And other people didn't have such great leads, and we lost like one person out of the pool. 11 people had Philadelphia, which the last pass of the game, one of the last passes there to the Carolina guy dropped the ball at the end zone to knock the 11 people out of the Survivor pool that had Philadelphia. And then you had Miami, 3 or 4 had Miami, which the Jets almost beat them outright. And then a couple had also New Orleans over the Giants, and then they missed a field goal at the end. So there was a lot of lucky people in the pool, and I've been lucky, of course, myself the last couple of weeks. But just have to hope Cincinnati disappoints everyone like they've done throughout the whole season, including myself earlier in this Survivor poll tonight, because I think 3 people have Cincinnati over Dallas. So
Cincinnati has been that team. They opened up the first week at home 9, 8.5, 7.5 point favorites against the lowly Patriots. and just an absolute train wreck. Patriots win that game, but I have seen other people jump onto Cincinnati, a team that has scored 30 plus points a handful of times and lost all the games. I really feel for Joe. I know the future's bright there. T. Higgins will be somewhere else next year. They got to work on that defense. But I want to stick to Philly for a second because our good friend and colleague, Mr. Benson, did something crazy, and you talk about a PR hit. I want to ask you your thoughts. A gentleman, I don't know who this person was, wagered $3 million on the Eagles money line at the CIRCA to win, to net $400,000. Now, there's no such thing as locks, as you and I know that, at least, and most of our followers and listeners know that, number one. Number two, it's the NFL. It's any given Sunday, not for long. You talked, excuse me, about the Leggett drop. I mean, he catches that, and they're, 30 seconds away from shocking the world, not just in the CIRCA, but Jeffrey Benson and, of course, Derek Stevens would have been dancing and, let's say, decking the halls early for Christmas.
Yeah, it's funny. I think the guy laid 7-1. They were looking for Carolina money more than anyone else, and we've seen that in their odds. Even at game time, they were trying to get money on Carolina, and they really couldn't. No one really. They were like plus 850, I think they went off at, and it just goes to show you that even the sharp guys sometimes, because a couple sharp groups were on the Eagles minus 12 and 12.5. Game went up to 14 game time. It was 14 everywhere, and that's because the public pushed them up also, and. It just goes to show you that these big teams. First of all, I can never lay double digits on any NFL team. I don't like to lay over 3.5, over 3 on anything. So 3.5 or more, I find myself having a hard time betting. But a lot of people want to enhance their money line parlays. So they say, "Oh, let me just throw the Eagles in. That's an easy win." And listen, it's not an easy win. 3 years ago, we had a 14.5 and a 17-point favorite on the same weekend. It's like weekend like 16 in the NFL, and literally both teams lost outright. So, and that can happen. It's just like anything can and will happen in the NFL. The line is so fragile sometimes. Now I say that it's an efficient line, but any given Sunday, anything can happen. The team can blow someone out by 30. That same team can lose outright by 20 or 30. So it just matters how the ball bounces, the penalties, the coaching. There's so many different variables, and it's the reason why that market is so hard to beat. So I say fragile. I mean fragile to bet. It's so hard to bet into NFL sides and also NBA sides. It's the most efficient market out there. This guy got real lucky to win his $400 and some thousand, and maybe next time he may think twice about laying that much when at the goal line the guy's dropping the ball like that. Trust me, the Eagles would have lost the game there. They're not. They don't want to get anyone hurt or anything. They're kind of cruising into the playoffs. They don't want to get anybody banged up, and maybe they were looking ahead. This could have been a look ahead for them where they were looking past the easy Carolina team, which was supposedly one of the worst teams in football, which find themselves in a favorite role next week for the first time this season. 1-point favorite, not a big deal, but so at least the CIRCA took a bet like that. That's amazing that CIRCA, they're not a big company like DraftKings and FanDuel with $1 billion bankroll. So to hear them take that size bet actually surprised me, but good for them. Good for them.
True story, Billy. A handful of years ago, myself and Dave Sharapian walked into the CIRCA as Jeffrey was walking out, gives us a big hug. Hey, let's grab a quick drink. Let's grab some lunch during March Madness. And he goes, hey, by the way, I got 40 minutes before tip-off. We just took 2 bets, one of 100,000 and one of 80,000 on a big dog. It was a 9-point dog. Then he dropped it to 8. And he goes, if you know anyone looking on the other side, please, text me immediately. They're in the game to take bets. They're not here to limit you. I call it the Mecca. You obviously know a lot about it. I mean, when people are going to Vegas, I said, hey, you got to get to Fremont Street. We know that, but of course, you got to. If you're a sports book guy, if you enjoy the games, you got to get to the Circa, Billy.
Yeah, it's one of the places that's the Mecca there. You go in there and you realize how much dedicated they are. The space to gambling, okay, but the space to sports betting is amazing. Uh, Upstairs, downstairs, even overlooking it on the second floor at the video poker machines is a bar there, just overlooking that, the VSiN studio off to the left, that big board off to the right, the many TVs, millions and millions of dollars in TVs. It's a great spot, but we don't want to forget there's other places in town that also are just unbelievable to watch sports. The Westgate, the home of the Super Contest, unbelievable. Walking in there, it's like, wow. And then you go into places like the Wynn and see it's a upgraded, classy, one of the classiest places to watch sports. We're really fortunate. We have some great spots here in Vegas to watch sports and to bet on sports.
Billy, I have to ask you because I saw it a couple hours prior to your timeline, and I thought the same thing. I was going to be sarcastic, and there was a barricade at one of our favorite spots at the South Point. You talked about it last week with a couple of restaurants, and I said the same thing. Oh, someone they must have closed down the hot dog cart, a little early. Any idea what was going on at the South Point late last night?
No, I don't. I know they had it barricaded off, and listen. Let me just tell you, I don't know what happened there, so I don't really want to say something that I shouldn't because, but the human condition, what we're made up of, and holiday time's not the best time. I don't know if anything happened like that, but not the best time for a lot of people. You lost loved ones, and an idle mind is a devil's playground. It's a great line from a movie that's a lot of people don't know about this movie, but it's a gambling movie. It's called 29th Street with Danny Aiello. And yeah, an idle mind is a devil's playground. So, like the father there was out of work and he's going to Yonkers and clubs and gambling. It was a really great movie. Absolutely love it. I consider it a Christmas movie, by the way. A lot of Christmas scenes in that movie. It's free on YouTube also. People can watch 29th Street. Anyway, yeah, you don't know what happened there. And just in general, though, the gambling, the local casinos too. I always walk in to the local casinos. I like going to the local casinos. That's what I'd rather gamble in a local casino. I think they give you a little more back. So, but when I go into these local casinos, I sometimes look at the poor people that are playing, the people that make up, the casino, and the people that are gambling. They shouldn't be gambling, Jeff. They're shaking, they're smoking. It's negative energy, especially the beginning of the month. The beginning of the month, you could see their checks are in action and everything goes, and it's very, very hard to live in this town. Not only this town, I'll give you any town in America where there's casinos. Now, granted, there's gambling everywhere. I get it, but it's tough to go into a situation. Now, listen, we're all our own people. We make our own decisions. But, as much as I'm a gambler and I make money from the industry, and let's just face it, I make my living sports betting more than anything else. I teach responsible gambling and talk about subjects like this all the time. It's so accessible. It's so glamorous. It's so fascinating and neon and billboards and commercials on TV and closet gambling is everywhere. And I don't just mean people that are betting housewives on their app at night betting. I mean, closet gambling is also going out and gambling to the casinos by yourself. You're playing video poker, which is the crack cocaine of gambling, by the way. You're not interacting with any dealer, other players at a table. It's closet gambling. You're gambling. You're putting money in the machine. No one knows how much you're winning or losing except for you and the casino, of course. If you get a comp or something, or your host or something like that, it's really hard to control yourself and have any kind of bankroll management. The worst thing, I shouldn't say worst, the hardest thing to do in gambling is to leave a gambling establishment with money in your pocket if you're losing. Because what do you want to do? Just want to get even. Let me just get, oh Lord, let me just get even. I'll go home. I won't gamble anymore. Let me just get back to where I was. And if you're winning 2,000 and you lose back 1,500, you're only winning 500. Let me just get back to 1,000 and I'll leave. It's a sickness. It's an internal sickness that most of us have. Let me just tell you something. Even sharp advantage gamblers, blackjack card counters, people that even they have this mindset sometimes where they just want to get even, or they want to. It's our human makeup. It's our human condition. Ever since we're little kids playing Monopoly with our family, our dad, our brothers, stickball, baseball, whatever it may be, you always want to win. So as an adult, it crosses over and draws parallels.
Monopoly, OMG, I had flashbacks. I always had to be the hat, and then I loved
Yeah.
the spots, the houses and hotels right before New York, right before the free
Yeah.
money there, and then
Yeah.
of course
Yeah.
whether to dig into the dark green and the Pennsylvania, or do you go for the Boardwalk and Park Place, which no one ever hit when I had it, of course. So
And of course, they're all based on Atlantic City too. You know that, right? The
yes,
the, the, the Parker brothers based them on Atlantic City, and there wasn't legal gambling back then in Atlantic City, but there was a lot of underground gambling, and there was a ton of after-hour joints, just like all over the big cities and the working cities in America. There was red light districts in almost every single hardworking blue collar town in America. It's hard to believe. It was gambling has been going all those towns in Pennsylvania, hardworking steel mills and power plants, all those guys after work and business owners. We seen the Irishman. That was real. There was gambling all over. Basically all over America. But I'm more using these back east hardworking people. But then again, there's been gambling in the Roman ages and in Europe and Italy, and gambling is just part of culture. But you have to control it, and you have to know how to control it. And for most people, it's impossible, to be honest with you.
You talked about having the Steelers survive in advance. We'll be a Cowboy fan tonight, just trying to knock off a handful. It's Monday morning. It's 10:50 back east. It's not even 8 a.m. back in Vegas where you are. You bought in. You survived the first week. I don't know what you have left, but are there any potential leans already that you guys are seeing for Sunday?
Had a nice path, actually, a nice path to here. I just expected to lose some other people, so we didn't. I have a funny feeling after looking at everyone studying this last night with a friend of mine, and I have a funny feeling this is going to be split amongst a lot of people in the end. And imagine it didn't start out that way. It looked like it was going to be over by like week 17, week 18. I think it's going to be a lot of people have some good paths here. We do too. So I really think that in the end, there's going to be a dozen people splitting here this prize. So we'll see what happens.
In 14 and change, 14 million, of course, if you got 10 people, right? I mean, wouldn't it be everyone gets a million and you play for the four, or do you think it would be a clear chunk?
No, I think it would. That's the way. As long as everyone agrees. Sometimes you don't have people that agree, but I think everyone would probably agree to something like that. Maybe $1 million each, and then play for a chunk of money. You hit it spot on, Jeff.
College football. I mean, we got the final 12. We got Army Navy this Saturday. Did you have any stake in the game? Were you rooting for anyone? It is what it is. I mean, the bottom line here. It's a money grab, because if you were in a conference championship game this weekend, Bill, and you make it to the championship game, you are going to have played 17 games, two teams. We've never seen that in our lanes here. And the fact of the matter is, they're going to January 20th. They're almost taking us straight to the Super Bowl. And the fact of the matter is, probably when this shakes out, the Final Four will be the chalk, unless someone gets on an amazing run. And it was like you could have had these four teams probably in without the other eight teams, Billy.
Yeah, if it's fun for the fans, it's one thing. You mentioned the word money grab. You're spot on. It's all about the money. It's all about the bucks. But however, if it's fun for the fans and this makes it a fun way to bet sports, but better yet, a fun way to watch sports, I guess that's fine. Me personally, I don't care about any individual team, any individual player. It's the old Bronx Tale thing. They don't care about you. Why do you care about them? I'm sorry to be like that. When I was a kid back east, of course, I was a fan of the New York Mets. I was a fan of sports in general. But then, you realize that your allegiance has to be to your bankroll, not to a team that, they don't give a crap about you. Why do you give a crap about them personally? It's nice to be from a town, I guess, and root for your hometown or your home team. I guess going into the collegiate level, I would be more apt to, maybe root for a school or something from where I came from, sure. But as far as betting any team, or I can't bet against that team because they were from my home state and I rooted for them when I was a kid. Listen, I don't care about that at all. I'll bet against anyone. Matter of fact, in certain markets, you could actually benefit betting against that that home team or the home state, because you can get maybe a half a point here or there with a certain bookmaker. When you have so many bookmakers that are legal to the United States here, you see sometimes, especially here in Vegas, depending on the crowds, when the Las Vegas Golden Knights play, sometimes they're too heavy of a favorite here. It's almost an auto bet the other side. So when they were in the Stanley Cup here, Washington was an auto bet. It was almost, you could scalp the numbers. Really, that's how big the public comes on. And I say public, yes, because believe it or not, the public in volume will cause a sports book to move lines. Those $50, $100, $200, $500 bets, they cause you to move lines because you have so much volume. You see your volume going up and you have to move. You have to get some money back on the other side. So as far as that goes, no, nothing jumped out so early on these particular games. I took a couple leads on some NFL games for next week, which is always good to do early Monday morning or even Sunday night. But the limits are small. They don't take a lot. Even CIRCA, they may take $2,000 on an NFL limit on a game, whereas towards the weekend, especially on Sunday, you can dump out whatever you can bring to the counter, 5 figures, and bet the same thing, that same total. So it's not an efficient market early in the week. I try to get ahead of the moves.
Billy, before we get to the grab bag of the week here, I have to ask you, you're a back east guy like me. We got sick and tired of hearing it. And I'm just saying this, when is enough? I go through some of these contracts, Albert Pujols and a few others, the last 3-4 years, you're just looking like, when's it going to end? And how quick the Metropolitans, I despise this. Once a year, it's Bobby Bonilla Day, where they pay him for his services that he hasn't played for 12 years and he's not going to play for another 12. But they paying Mr. Juan Soto over $750 million, and there's some quirks to it. You got some outs, this, that, the other in the 5th year. Glad it's over for me. The Red Sox, hey, they supposedly got up to the high 6s. They were never going to get them. They're relevant now. But you're a back east guy. What do you think of the Metropolitans and Juan Soto?
Listen, it's out of control. But then again, prices are out of control. Maybe it's just the cost of living. That number, though, is crazy. I remember my grandfather. My grandfather was, of course, a big Yankee fan. He used to watch Babe Ruth play. And I remember when I was little, him telling me about Babe Ruth's contract. When he got like $50,000 and people went crazy. And I remember him telling me that. And the reason why I remember, because Dave Winfield in like 1980, he got a 10-year, $20 million contract, biggest contract in baseball, maybe in sports. Even my grandfather, being a diehard Yankee fan, was like, oh my God, this is out of control. How does someone get $2 million a year to play baseball? I mean, imagine if my grandfather was around now. He was born in 1910. I was real close to my grandfather, by the way. Even though he spoke Hungarian, he was a tough guy. Had a tough grandfather. He was worked with his hands. He was a real family guy, but he was a diehard Yankee fan, and he loved the Yankees. And of course, he did learn to speak English once he came to the country. Him and I were real close. I was his first grandson. He took me to all different games, Yankees, Mets, we went to everything. But I remember him talking about that particular contract. Imagine if he's seen what was going on now. It's out of. How about the NFL quarterbacks? They're paying $50 million on guys that are sitting on the bench. They don't even want to start them. They're talking about benching Aaron Rodgers getting $40 million a year. Danny Dimes, that he had a contract 40. I think it was 160 million for 4 years, 40 million a year. Trading him, he's quitting. I mean, imagine what is going on now is absolutely out of control.
Yeah, and you're probably going to see next year maybe Atlanta trying to move on from Kirk Cousins. Of course, we got the Deshaun Watson guaranteed money there. What do you do with Aaron Rodgers? You're talking about Danny Dimes. In a sport or a society that we live in now, it's a win-win-win now, and you're pushing all the chips in. You don't allow some of these guys to nurture, like, Patrick Mahomes. Here's a clipboard. There's your mentor for a year. Go learn from him. But that don't happen nowadays, Bill.
Yeah, it just doesn't. It really is. It is. It's out of control. I was just thinking about something about my grandfather when you were talking there. I apologize. Like I said, I was real close to him, and I miss him so dearly. You may imagine, amazingly, the Italian side from the Bronx, which was my mom's side. Even though I was real close to my mom, I was closer to my grandparents on my father's side. They were the ones that led me to things and gave me the good advice. And I remember my grandfather. I'm going to give a shout out. I'm sorry, I'm old school, so I apologize, Jeff. My grandfather got me a job at UPS. He was so happy and so proud. By the way, making like $16.50 an hour back in 1988. I mean, that's a good job. It's a good job and a good future, UPS. And I remember it just wasn't for me. I had to quit. I quit the job, and he was so disappointed in me, so upset with me, because he didn't like gambling. He didn't like how gambling was part of, let's just face it, the Italians. My mother's family corrupted my father, the Hungarian side, and my dad was a gambler too. So he didn't like his grandson being involved in gambling. He was so upset with me. I just hope he looks down at me now and realizes that I couldn't make as much unless I was the CEO of UPS, probably. So thank God that I chose the path I did, and I really consider the work ethic. No one, Jeff, no one has worked more blue collar jobs than me. Before I became a successful sports bettor and into media and making money, I worked many jobs. I was a loser. I was a losing gambler. We lost. We were gamblers. The pressure was off when we went broke at night. We can go sleep. That's the pressure's off. Every day money was pressure, if that makes any sense to people out there. Having green cash in our hands, in our pockets, it was pressure. And that's the way you grow up back east sometimes. And that's the family the friends I grew up around, more than family. But anyway, I hope he's looking down and knowing that, top of the world, Ma.
Question of the week, Billy. Friends, families heading out to Vegas, kind of new and raw. It doesn't matter if, a lot of people I know haven't been to Vegas in dozens of years. And if they go there now, they're like, whoa, this is gone. Facelifts. Recommendations for people heading out to Vegas, shows, places, must-goes.
You might be shocked by me starting out with this line, telling you this. First off, if you're a gambler, you might want to stay home. How's that sound? No, it sounds hard to believe, right? Come out here for a vacation. And the reason why I say there's gambling within a 2-hour drive of everyone in the country now. It's not like it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago. There's gambling everywhere now. If you're coming out here to gamble, stay home. Stay home and gamble. Seriously. If you're here to have a good time, enjoy yourself, I probably have a battle plan for you, come out here, enjoy the weather, enjoy the pools. 8 months out of the year, you can go in the pools here. Enjoy the nice sun, maybe have one of those little drinks with an umbrella in it and sit by the pool. And also, there's a couple of things maybe you can't get back home. Maybe the great restaurants here, We have so many top celebrity chefs, top ones in the world here. Also, shows, like you said, we have some of the top shows in the world here. I look at the New Year's Eve lineup, all the different people that are coming here for New Year's Eve. I mean, this is the number one play. By the way, I wouldn't recommend coming New Year's Eve. It's amateur hour. You have people from all over. They all get drunk. They all come on. The strip closes down. It's beautiful, but you just have to avoid any fights or anyone on the road that's drinking and driving, and that's very, very important to me. So, but if you do come here and you want to go gamble and you want to go, I told you, make sure you go to the shows. Do maybe go where the locals go. Go. We have some great mom and pop restaurants here, which I've mentioned on this space before. Great mom and pop restaurants here. If you gamble, go, like I said, where the locals go. Go to a local casino, see how cool it is. Go to Red Rock. Go to Palace Station. Go to the M. The South Point. You guys know I love the South Point. I was talking about them. It's nice being a big fish sometimes in a little pond. You get more offers from them. You get more bang for the buck from the local casinos. And why not stay in a local casino? If you're going to gamble, give your card. You'd be surprised how much less you have to gamble in a local casino than to gamble in one of the big factories on the strip to get offers and meals and stuff. Listen, and if you don't drink, then rent a car. I always say, who wants to wait in line for cabs or Ubers? Or most of the times it actually costs more in the end. And more importantly, it costs more of your time. So rent a car for $50 a day, $60 a day, and you save on all the Ubers. And yeah, okay, get a card where you can park in the casino or find a casino. There's still a couple casinos left on the strip you can park for free, especially if you're staying at one of the casinos. There's ways to also, if not in general, bring your wallet. This isn't your grandparents' Las Vegas anymore. We're one of the most expensive resort places, expensive cities in the United States now compared to what it was when back in the day when I was first coming to Vegas. It was like cheapo Vegas. I would come here, even myself when I first came here 30 some years ago, I would always find the values and the bargains and plan them out. And I also gambled. So I would plan out the best gambles and stuff. And so now if I want to gamble, I'm always walking in, looking at the percentages and knowing what the percentages of payback are and what am I getting back, what kind of promotions the casino is running. Also, something that you can even see, I'm drinking plenty of water. I have moisture. I have a lip balm here next to me. Even myself, after living here 20 some years, I still get dry, chapped lips. You have to have moisturizer on. You also want to make sure you drink a lot of water. I'm talking about, because you get dehydrated real fast here. One of my guys came out here, good in really good shape. This guy goes to the gym every day. He wound up putting himself in a hospital because he doesn't even drink alcohol, but he didn't drink enough water. So by the third day, he had a stone, like a kidney stone or something from not drinking enough water, and he wound up being in the hospital for 2 days. So make sure you drink. The amount of people that get dehydrated out here would shock you. So you have to drink. Even, by the way, even the winter time, you still want to, make sure you keep a lot of moisturizer. It's dry air. It's windy. Boy, the wind is so different than when I first came to Vegas. It is so windy here. It's unbelievable. So you want to make sure you have keep yourself hydrated and moisturizer and a lip balm. There you go. There's a couple little tidbits.
Billy, the scroll has been going the whole time. Everyone on Twitter, X, knows to find you at Bill Crackman, of course, at Crack Wins. But we always end this segment here. Billy, tell everyone your show schedule for the week and where they can find your app, of course.
Yeah, in the App Store, Crack Wins with a K. Of course, at Bill Crackman on Twitter. I handle my own Twitter account, so I'm in there every day. Also on some other forms of social media. But the shows, as far as the shows go, Fox Sports Radio on the weekends. I do Fox Hits all week long. I do VSiN on Thursdays. My own podcast, which is on Spotify under Action Junkies, and it's on under Crack Wins at YouTube. Every week I have Randy McKay on there, winning sports better, and giving NFL advice. 5-0 this week. I mean, he went 3-0 2 weeks ago. So, I mean, he's one of the most successful NFL sports bettors in the world. I'll just tell you that. So all this free advice right on the show every week.
Billy, thank you so much. Make sure you tell Gil we said hello and the rest of the
All right.
Vegas crew. Can't thank you enough. Have a blessed week, and we'll catch up with you. And hopefully you survive in advance, and we'll catch
That's
up with
right.
you next Monday.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
The one and only Bill Krackomberger. Go follow him at Crack Wins, and of course at Bill Crackman. I'll take a quick commercial break, and we will wrap it up. Stay tuned.
Yourself a merry little Christmas night. And have yourself a merry little Christmas.
Bill Krackomberger, go follow him at Bill Crackman, of course, on Twitter. Go check out his app at Crackwins with a K. I say it every week. I'm going to say it again. We are blessed to have him here to start the week. We are the first that has Billy on every Monday here at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, 7:30 West Coast time. Shout out to Mr. Brian Gaskell talking about the hot dog cart, of course, at the South Point. Shout out to Mr. Russell Saylor, Howard Blindman, Emil, Danny. The list is endless here. Mr. Lucky, Dr. Lance, big following here on our Mondays. And as we do in every show, if you haven't followed us or subscribed, head on over to YouTube at East Coast Sports Investors. And a shout out to CJ Nichols, who's been doing a lot of behind the stage, behind the glass, I like to say, work here. And he's only going to do more as we get ready for our 10-year anniversary, January 1st, 2025. The goal is 5 o'clock for the closing bell with myself and Riley Magnuson. We call it Reentry Monday. I got some stuff going on, some family and personal matters here. We're trying to wrap up here. Could use some positive thought and prayer back east here. Got some stuff going on here. But all should be well there. To everyone watching and listening, we thank you. We really do. It's a new week. I always say this. When I send out my ECSI VIP alert on Sunday, we call it Family Day for a reason. The week's over. If you're up a handful of units, set it aside. Put a little something together. Scratch that itch. Call it, the action parlay. Maybe you get through the 1 o'clock, the 4 o'clock. So we were 2-1 in the NFL yesterday. Had a Dolphins money line. We had a dog of the day, the Rams, plus 3.5, and them on the money line there. Was absolutely 100% on the wrong side of the Bears. That line was 6 and got corrected to 3.5, and box to wire on the 49ers there. So hats off to Brian Gaskell. Congrats, Juan Soto. Good luck there. You're not going to even remember Bobby Bonilla Day. Wait till, potentially if Soto stays there for the 15 years, when he's 35, 36, 37, and he's getting $55 million a year. OMG, good luck there. But winter meetings, baseball, maybe the Red Sox will sign someone. Hopefully they get into the Garrett Crochet sweepstakes there. I'll tell you what, I don't mind Walker Buehler. Give me Walker Buehler for 2 years there. And again, call up Seattle, see if we can pry Kirby or Gilbert. I really don't want Wu, but I would settle for Wu there. And then start there. I don't want Corbin Burns. Let someone else spend the money on Corbin Burns there. So Russell Saylor, $55 million will be worth about $10 million in 15 years. You're probably right, but the problem is when Mookie Betts, Bryce Harper, and a handful of others, are making $350 million less, you start to scratch your head there. And I'll say this: no disrespect to Juan Soto, none. He's no Ohtani. Ohtani is must-watch TV every day, whether he's pitching or at the plate. Okay? We had that in Boston not too long ago. His name was called Pedro Martinez. True story. When Pedro pitched, you didn't move. Whether you were at Fenway Park or you were sitting at home watching it, your butt didn't move. You watched every pitch. He was must-watch TV. You went to the concession stands. You went to your refrigerator when the Red Sox were up. You never missed a pitch when Pedro pitched. Never. And again, Shohei Ohtani. If Shohei's coming to the plate, your butt is planted. You want to make sure you see Shohei hit. And the same, obviously, if he's pitching. I'm not discrediting Juan Soto. But again, someone had to get him. Someone paid a dear price for it. And for Mets fans, you took him away from the evil empire. So, Mr. Cohen, great job to you and all the Mets fans. So, again, everyone, have a blessed day. Hope to be back at 5 o'clock. Keep an eye on our timelines, and we will see you soon.